Good morning, people. Hello and welcome to another vlog episode of the India Darshan travel series. So this is the balcony of my hotel in the U, and that's the harbor side. So I just woke up, slept in a little bit to catch up with the sleep after the long ride yesterday. But today we are gonna go out before the weather starts boiling and start exploring a little bit. So we're gonna go down and walk around a little bit, grab a little bit of brunch, and then walk in the vicinity first, and then we're gonna grab the Activa and start going further and explore what else is there to see in Diu. So let's get started. So that's the hotel where I'm staying at. It's called Relax Inn. There's also a hotel apart. They have like a joint premises. But last night while exploring, I found a good deal, so landed up here. They both have balconies and they both are facing the harbor front. So got the one that I randomly stumbled upon. There are these two restaurants right at the entrance. That's the hotel. So I'm guessing these are slightly overpriced because they are like right at the entrance of the hotel. I'm gonna walk around a little bit. Last night I was kind of running around the streets trying to look for a hotel, and I landed up at some smaller streets in the area behind, which should be very close down over there. I'm gonna go there and check the food options over there. If you find something reasonable, just want to have some light brunch before we start venturing out. So it looks like in the evening at the harbour front they also set up a whole bunch of shops, because in the afternoon the seaside becomes really hot and unbearable. So I think even today I'll have to sneak into the hotel and rest up when the sun gets really hot. For now it's bearable. And that's the bunch of eateries that I saw last night. Also a couple of more hotels along this way. So this is all the harbourfront road, and like everything is slightly overpriced here because of the views that they claim they give you from the balcony. So you have to be a little bit careful. This gate looks nice. Might as well take a selfie with this gate here. I think this is the Arabian Sea. We are on the western coast of India, and I think like on the state of Gujarat, this is like a southern tip where we are faced by water. We can go further down. There's also Vadodara and Surat area, which we're gonna explore at a later point. That's like further down south of the state. But this is like on the, if you see the coast, this is like a small tiny dot over there. And Diu is a union territory, so it's not a state in itself, but it's like a city inside a union territory. So that's what we are exploring. Not very touristic, I suppose, but more like a weekend getaway for people who live in Gujarat. And I think there are beaches. So there's the Gogla beach where I landed up yesterday. That was my first starting point, but of course can't see anything at night. And there is also another beach here which I'm told is a little bit further away. Not sure if with my injuries I can actually take a dip in the salty seawater, but we'll give it a shot at some point. But for now, let's just take in the views and enjoy the cool breeze. Alright, all fueled up. Was a bit on the pricier side, but anyways, was tasty. So breakfast is done. Now we're gonna start exploring. And I've been seeing a lot of these kind of makeshift vehicles throughout in this journey down south to Diu. I don't know what they're called, but they look pretty interesting, and they ferry a whole bunch of villages from one place to another. And as you can see, most of the narrow streets inside the neighborhood are kind of under construction. So driving here is kind of a little bit tricky because it's just loose soil. So I don't know if there's some renovation going on or what's the plan, but that's kind of a bit of a annoying part for driving here. Anyway, let's start exploring the town now. I think it's called the city. So let's start exploring the coastal city of Diu. So the first stop that we're gonna make is a Shiva temple where the Shivlings are washed by water naturally. So that sounds interesting, and I'm hoping to get there before the temple closes. So let's see. Seems like it's a little bit further away, but this is not a very massive place, so we should get there. So after a scenic ride by the seaside, we have made it to Gangeshwar Mahadev temple. It's a Shiva temple, and look at the waves washing by the shore. I see people down there, and the parking I mentioned that you go in from there and go down, that's where the temple is. And it's a 10 rupees parking for two-wheelers. I don't know about four-wheelers. They were taking four-wheeler parking up front, and then two-wheeler you pay when you park here at the gate. So let's go inside and check out the temple. Oh. Yeah, the floor is boiling hot. The floor is actually lava here, and when you leave your slippers they turn to lava as well. But going down there is an epic experience. I think when there's a high tides, that's when the Shivlings are washed by the water. For now, people are just enjoying the waves going all the way down. So you get to the temple, and then there are a couple of steps there which people are going down and enjoying. The thing is, the floor is boiling, your feet hurt, and people take their sweet time to get down there because they want selfies. So I don't want to go down there because the floors, the rocks look very slippery. But anyways, I had a great darshan, enjoyed the views. There's another Shiva temple along the way that I saw while I was going there. There are a few bikes and scooters parked here along the road. Now that I'm returning and I have some free time, I'm gonna go check this out. There is a very beautiful Shiva statue right at the entrance. Turns out, aside from the Shiva statue, this was also the Hindu cremation ground. Somebody was doing a funeral, so decided to skip those parts but only take the Shiva statue. But just be mindful when you're here. That's also another thing that happens here. So along the way there is also this umbrella rock that shows up on the maps, but it's nothing super fancy. That's where I was taking selfies with my Activa. There was like just 50 meters ahead of the umbrella rock there is a much nicer view, so I was hanging out there. And further down the road we have the INS Khukri memorial over there. I think the actual INS Khukri is parked right next to the hotel, so we're gonna go there in the evening. It's 1 p.m. now, so probably after this point need to find shelter again because it's getting boiling hot. Let's go around, figure out what's the ticket and stuff for this and how this works out here for the memorial. So spoke to one of the local shopkeepers and got some great advice. He mentioned that all the way up there through the hedges there's like a glass box that has a memorial of the INS Khukri, and the actual ship is parked actually next to the hotel. and he did mention that, you know, don't go there up right now because it's like there's no shelter and it's extremely hot. And the INS Khukri actually allows entrance only up until 6:15 p.m. It's 100 rupees entrance ticket. So he said better do that first and do the fort, which is also on that side, and then come back here later in the evening because this is the ideal spot for checking out the sunset as well. And this is open until 10 p.m. So come back in the evening, you know, when it's a bit cooler, check out the memorial, enjoy the sunset, enjoy the lighting. So I really like this idea. Thumbs up to this cool uncle that I met, shopkeeper, and he explained everything very nicely. So we're gonna skip this spot for later, continue forward. If we see something along the way, we'll stop. Otherwise, time to hunker down in the hotel. Found a really cool beach access point. That's the INS Khukri Memorial. So this is right next to it. Trying to go down and get my feet a little bit wet after getting them burned at the Gangeshwar Mahadev temple. Not gonna go too far deep because I don't see anybody here and I don't know anything about the water quality, but can definitely get the feet wet and walk around on the sand a little bit. Probably the sand is hot too, but the one closer to water might be worth checking out. That did feel nice, although the sand is boiling hot. So yeah, it's 40 plus degrees here that even the sand is boiling so close to the beach side. But look at the views, amazing experience. So one last stop before I find my shelter is the Diu Cathedral. The premises around are undergoing some renovation, so parking is a little bit of an issue, but looks interesting. So that's the one. Let's try and go inside and check it out. Looks pretty rustic. Wonder if it's people did say that it's open to go inside, so let's go inside and see what's happening. It's a very big church, and there's a board sign. It says it was built in the 1600s with very minute decorations on the exterior, which I can see is like a very simplistic exterior, nothing super fancy here, and could use some renovation, and then it would be a really nice place for people to visit while they're exploring the U. Really like the interiors. Okay, now it's boiling. Time to go hide for about 2.5 hours or something like that. Probably we'll start exploring again at 4 p.m. so that by 6 p.m. the things are closed. I can explore that and then come back to the memorial to enjoy a nice sunset today.
A few inches later.
So after a nice lunch break, finally made it to the Diu fort, and along the way I also saw INS Khukri, which looks really majestic, so definitely want to check it out. It's very close by, so technically you could also walk from here, but if you want you can take your own vehicle. I still have to figure out where to park over there. And then we're gonna, oh yeah, the lunch that I had was biryani, but that wasn't the dum biryani that I'm used to. It was more like a tawa biryani, so kind of like fried rice topped with whatever your ingredients of choice are. But they said that's the one that you get here. The owner was cool, so spoke to him a little bit and learned that to get into the water here, except for the two dedicated beaches, the Nagua beach and the other one with the name starting with G, I forgot the name of the beach. If you go anywhere else inside the water, the quality of the water and the depth is unknown, so it's better to stick to just the beaches. And yeah, so basically don't go into the water anywhere else. It's could be rough choppy waves out there. And then we have the fort right behind us, so let's try and go inside. Oh yes, now I remember. The beach with the G was Bhogla beach, and that's another fort. I think all of these forts are from the time where the Portuguese people were here. They do have a lot of Portuguese appeal, and that might be the boarding point to take a ferry to go there. But turns out that most of these places are under collective renovation. Like they started renovating the entire whole cluster of tourist points at the same time. So there's a whole lot of renovations going on. But anyway, part of it is still open to the public, so let's go enjoy the views. So it looks like, aside from being a fortress, this is also a prison site. Maybe that's the prison behind me, as per the directions. And then, yeah, I was right. So there is a jetty boarding point, which is like a boat boarding facility over there. So you can go to the fortress at some time, perhaps. But right now, because of renovations, everything's closed. So nobody's going nowhere. So there are two cannons here and one over there. I'm wondering why there are these two cannons pointing towards that fortress here. Is it to stop the invasion, perhaps like some pirates or some prison break or something? But yeah, that's the jetty boarding point. Everybody's now coming here to take the selfies. And that's another fort. Cool. I don't know, my guesstimate says that might be the jail, but perhaps not. That's another fort, because the jail kind of plaza signs were pointed this way. So maybe they did it the other way around. So this fort definitely has Portuguese influence and was built quite a long time ago. Protected by seas on three sides, and then on the one side protected by land, which is where they dug up the moat. So has a very strategic influence on the area. And I learned about the geography of Diu. So Diu is the southernmost tip of the Saurashtra Peninsula in Gujarat, and it's an island. And Diu City is like one of the small, let's say, downtown of the island. So that's where we are exploring most of the things, monuments and forts and temples, etc. And this part of the premises has a lot of greenery, and I think that's a lighthouse. Not sure how to get there, but for now I'm just roaming around the campus trying to take in the views, because the sun is about to set in, well, it's 5 p.m, still 2 hours to go, but at least it's a little bit cooler now. Finally approaching the lighthouse. It's a very steep incline, another very steep incline, and then you'll be there. So the views from up here are really nice. It's quite high up. You can see the entire fort. That's the sea, and that's the aerial view of the entire fort. I think this is one of those places where not very many tourists come to visit anyway, and of those, not very many are YouTubers either. So anytime somebody sees me with my full vlogging gear, they get really excited, and they either want to have a guest appearance, or they want to subscribe to the channel, or they show appreciation for what I'm doing. One way or another, they are always very happy, and it makes me happy to see them happy that I'm covering their state, hopefully. So most of the people that I've met in Diu are from some or the other place within Gujarat. I would consider them as like locals, in a sense that they're from the same state. No foreigners, zero foreigners. Very few outsiders here as well, and a lot is being developed now, so it is known as mini Goa, but it's gonna be a while. So I'm gonna spend maybe 5-10 more minutes out here taking the views, and then we'll be on our way to the warship. Check it out before it closes as well, because they are both timed monuments. So made it here in good time. It's open until 6:30. It's 5:30 now. I have about an hour to explore the ship. And here it says it won a Best Ship Award in 2020-21. And Khukri is a Nepalese knife. I want to understand what's the significance between the name and the actual use of the warship. Maybe there is some board signs inside I can read. So understood the system of the ship. It's pretty neat. They have reddish arrows on the floor, something like this. So you just follow this track, and they have board signs across everything, so you can understand what's what. They started out at the very front of the ship. So there's this artillery system right here, AK-176 machine guns and SAT systems and stuff. So we're gonna go start exploring, but first we have the anchors and things at this front. So we're gonna go down. That's the main part of the ship. The reason why I stopped here is because this is this close to the fort. So that's the fort. That's the fortress in the middle of the sea that I was seeing right across from the boarding point. And that's the INS Khukri. So you also see this from the fort, and it's not too far off. So if you kind of want to walk, it's also walkable, and from here it's also walkable to the market area where I'm staying. So everything is very close by on this side. So as it turns out, there was a erstwhile INS Khukri that went down in the Indo-Pak War. This is the subsequent INS Khukri that was recently decommissioned in 2022, I think sometime in Jan, and handed over to Diu as now a museum for people to visit. This explains why this is called the INS Khukri. It's named after the only ever ship that was lost, hence the shrine, and it was also made at the Mazgaon dock, which is where I went to see the fish market in Mumbai Travels. That was a shipbuilding yard. That was a very cool experience. They have put up some air conditioners inside as well, so it was a bit comfortable. Otherwise it would be boiling hot given this weather conditions. Now let's go to the memorial, the INS Khukri memorial, and enjoy a nice sunset.